If your new roommate talks to her mother on the phone every single night, and you later find out her mother's been dead for 6 months, don't ask questions. Don't confront her, because whatever's answering that phone isn't going to stop at just her. Yes, Papa. I'll eat on time. Don't worry, Nisha said into the phone, glancing over as her roommate Tara walked out of the bathroom. It's just the two of us right now. One more girl's moving in today. Okay. Love you, good night. It had only been a few weeks since Nisha moved to the city. Fresh out of college, she'd taken a job in tech. And like most people starting over somewhere new, loneliness had crept in fast. When her office colleague Tara mentioned a paying guest house exclusively for working women, Nisha jumped at the chance to move in. The landlord had converted the building into something like a hostel. 4 girls on the first and second floors, and just 2 rooms on the third. Nisha and Tara's, and one more, still empty, waiting for its new tenant. After a long day at the office, both girls were exhausted, but they still pulled together dinner. Warm rotis, a simple curry, laughing and chatting like they'd known each other for years. That's when Nisha heard the gate creak open downstairs. Footsteps, slow, climbing the stairs. That's probably the new girl, Tara said, heading to open the door. The moment she opened it, something about the quiet made her uneasy. The footsteps were still climbing, slow, deliberate, getting closer. Tara's heart started racing, and she wasn't sure why. Back in the kitchen, alone, Nisha wondered what was taking Tara so long. She turned around, and Tara was standing frozen in the doorway. No one else was there. No third girl. No lagi. Nothing. Did you hear it too? Nisha asked, turning off the stove. The footsteps. Yeah, I heard them, Tara said. So why hasn't anyone come up yet? Both girls stared down the darkened stairwell. The footsteps had stopped completely. Let's go check, Nisha said. They crept down a few steps and peered over the railing toward the floor below, and there she was. A girl standing on the second floor landing, curly hair falling over her face, a suitcase in one hand, a phone pressed to her ear with the other. Yes, Mom, I'll eat, they heard her say softly. Take care of yourself. I'll call soon. Nisha and Tara stood watching from above, listening without meaning to, until, without warning, the girl looked straight up. It happened so fast neither of them had time to move. Something about her eyes, even from that distance, sent a genuine chill through both of them. Slowly, wordlessly, she began climbing the stairs toward them, an unreadable look on her face. By the time she reached the top, Nisha and Tara were still standing there, wearing the most awkward smiles either of them had ever managed. Were you two listening to me? The girl asked flatly. No, Nisha said quickly, recovering first. We just heard footsteps and came to open the door. The landlord mentioned someone new was moving in today. We've literally been waiting for you, Tara added, a little too fast. Tara. This is Nisha. The new girl studied them both with open suspicion. I'm Tara. She paused, catching the coincidence, and gave a thin smile instead. I'm Vera. Before either of them could say another word, Vera walked straight past them into her room and shut the door hard enough to rattle the frame. She's intense, Tara said once they were back inside. Probably just missing home. First few days are always hard. Let's eat and get some sleep, early meeting tomorrow. Later that night, deep in sleep, Nisha woke up suddenly, throat dry. She'd forgotten to leave water by the bed. Tara was fast asleep beside her, so Nisha slipped out quietly, careful not to wake her, and made her way to the kitchen without turning on any lights. Vera's room sat right next to the kitchen. Her door was still shut. Nisha filled a glass, drank, and was heading back to her room when she heard it. A low murmur of a voice, talking, whispering almost, coming from Vera's room. Who is she talking to this late? Curiosity got the better of her. Barely breathing, Nisha crept toward Vera's door and leaned in toward the keyhole. Inside, Vera sat on her bed, hair loose and drifting slightly like there was a breeze in the sealed room. A single candle burned on the table in front of her. She held a photograph in one hand, rocking back and forth on the bed, muttering something under her breath that Nisha couldn't quite make out. The rocking alone was unsettling enough to raise goosebumps. Then Nisha saw something that made her blood run cold. Vera set the photograph down and picked up a small box. She opened the lid and pulled out a live lizard, gripping it by the tail. It dangled upside down, writhing, as if begging for its life. Vera didn't hesitate for even a second. She opened her mouth and swallowed it whole. Nisha's entire body went numb. How does a living, breathing person just eat that? Something is deeply wrong with this girl. And then, without any visible reason, no sound, no movement from Nisha, Vera's head snapped toward the door. Somehow, through a sealed door, Vera knew she was being watched. Nisha bolted. She didn't wait a second longer, sprinting silently back to her room and locking the door behind her, breath ragged, lips trembling. Then Vera's door opened. Footsteps, coming closer, stopping directly outside Nisha's room. Whatever happens, she can't know I saw her. 2 full minutes of silence passed. Nothing but Nisha's own heartbeat pounding in her ears. Then, finally, Vera's door closed again. Needing to be absolutely sure Vera had gone back inside, Nisha leaned toward her own keyhole to check the hallway, and found an eye staring directly back at her from the other side. The pupil wasn't human. It was a deep, wet red, like it was filled with blood. Nisha felt the room tilt around her, the edges of her vision going dark, her legs threatening to give out completely. "Nisha, wake up! You'll be late for the office." Tara's voice pulled her out of it. Nisha sat up in bed, disoriented, and everything from the night before flooded back. Hazy, dreamlike. Had any of it actually happened? Or had it all been a nightmare? By the time she showered and left for work, she found Vera on the stairs, watching her with a strange, knowing smile. Nisha said nothing, brushing past her toward the door, but the unease followed her the entire day. No matter how hard she tried, she couldn't focus on anything at the office. At lunch, Tara noticed. "You okay? You seem off today. Is something wrong? Doesn't Vera seem off to you too?" "She really does," Nisha admitted. "I even heard her on the phone with her mom again this morning." Who whispers to their mom like that every single time? Nisha didn't tell her about the rest. That evening, Tara left to visit her aunt, leaving Nisha alone on the 3rd floor with Vera. Not in the mood to cook, Nisha had picked up rotis and curry on her way home and was plating her dinner in the kitchen when her phone rang. Her father. Papa. Beta. Everything okay? How's the new roommate? You two getting close?" "Not really, Papa. She barely talks. The landlord told me about her, you know. Poor girl. You and Tara should look out for her a little." "We're not exactly friends, Papa." "But, what do you mean, poor girl? What happened to her?" "Oh, her mother passed away just a few months ago, Beta. She has no one else in the world. Even the landlord sounded upset telling me. Just keep an eye on her, all right?" The phone slipped from Nisha's hand. The sound of the screen cracking on the floor echoed in her ears, but her whole body had gone cold, frozen in place. If Vera's mother has been dead for months, who has she been calling every single night? Before Nisha could think any further, every light in the flat went out at once. She spun around, and Vera was standing right behind her, candle in hand, close enough to touch. Vera's eyes were wide with something that looked, impossibly, like fear. "How will you eat your dinner in the dark now?" she asked, in a voice that didn't sound like hers at all. Nisha watched, throat closing, as Vera burst into laughter, high-pitched and wrong. In the candlelight, her face looked even more grotesque than the night before. Did you eat?" Nisha managed, voice shaking. "Vera lafdarder. You already know what I eat, don't you?" Nisha's hands and feet went completely numb. And then something happened that no part of her was prepared for. Vera's laughter turned violent, her whole body shaking with it. As she laughed, her eyes rolled backward into her skull, and in their place, the same blood-red pupils from the night before stared out. Those weren't human eyes. They belonged to something else entirely. "Vera, What's happening to you? Nisha screamed. But Vera's body no longer belonged to her. Something feral twisted across her face, decades of hunger behind it. Slowly, her head began rocking side to side, and she started humming a lullaby, one Nisha half remembered from childhood. Soft at first, then twisting into something that scraped against the ears. The voice coming out of her throat wasn't a girl's voice anymore. It belonged to something ancient, something that fed.
Vera langde.
Nisha screamed and hit the floor hard, and at that exact moment, her phone's alarm went off, blaring from the kitchen counter where it had fallen. Her ringtone was the Hanuman Chalisa. Her father always said starting the day with God's name set the whole day right. The instant the chant filled the room, Vera let go of her instantly. She clawed at her own ears, screaming, as if the thing inside her was the one being hurt by it. Stop it! Stop it! Vera's body collapsed to the floor, convulsing violently. Black blood began seeping from the corner of her mouth. Moments later, she went still. 2 days later, Vera woke up in a hospital bed. She remembered nothing. Doctors said she'd suffered a severe cardiac episode, likely triggered by acute grief over her mother's death. But Nisha knew better. She was certain now, Vera had been taken over by something restless. Something that fed on unresolved grief, waiting for a moment weak enough to slip in, and it had found its opening the moment Vera started calling her mother, night after night, refusing to let her go. Nisha believes Vera is free of it now. But one detail still keeps her up some nights. Her morning alarm, the one set for 7:30 a.m., somehow went off at 7:30 in the evening, exactly when she needed it most. Was it a glitch, or was it Vera's mother reaching through, just once, to save them both? Whatever answered that phone every night wasn't her mother. It was something that had been waiting for someone to grieve loud enough to let it in. If someone you know keeps talking to a person who isn't there, that's not always sadness. Sometimes it's an open door. If this one got under your skin, hit subscribe. Next week we're covering the hostel where the 3rd floor doesn't officially exist on the building plans. Comment lizard if you knew something was wrong the moment she picked up the lizard.